If you want to make beautiful home decor items for your place while using up your scrap materials, I think you're going to love today's video. Whether you have scrap fabric, scrap wallpaper, or scrap wood, these DIY ideas are so fun and I can't wait to share them with you today. Let's get started. Make sure to hold on to your fabric scraps because you can make some really beautiful and unique DIYs with them. For this DIY, I'm taking a few 6-inch sized square fabric scraps, and then I'm taking some rice and I'm placing about 3 tablespoons of rice in the middle of the square. You can use pinking shears to cut these or simply just cut them with regular scissors. Then I'm taking this lavender essential oil and placing about 15 drops onto the rice. You can use more drops or fewer drops. You can use a different type of essential oil. That is completely up to you and what you love. Then I'm gathering all of the corners up from this fabric square, taking some twine and cutting that to about 6 to 10 inches long, and then tying the twine around the corners to create this little bundle. And you can kind of smush it up with your hands to get that oil distributed throughout your sachet, and now you have this cute little drawer sachet that you can give as a gift or keep for yourself. Pop it into your drawer, makes your clothes smell fresh and amazing, and it also looks adorable too. Here's another simple DIY to make with fabric scraps. You can use some small ceramic tiles, use them from an extra project, grab them from the home improvement store. However, in the spirit of using what I have on hand, I had these coaster blanks from Cricut, so I'm gonna use these. But again, you could use tiles, attach some cork or some felt to the back of them, and it's gonna be the same exact instructions. Using your tile or your coaster blank as a guide, trace that onto the reverse side of some scrap fabric, and then cut the fabric out with some fabric scissors. Then you're gonna take some matte Mod Podge and a foam brush some of that Mod Podge onto the top of your tile or your coaster blank, smooth your fabric over top of that. Then once that's dry, you can trim it as needed, and then take some more Mod Podge, apply that with a brush on top of the fabric. This is gonna make the fabric nice and smooth and give this coaster a nice wipeable and smooth finish. Now you have some beautiful, unique coasters that you can use for coffee time on your dining table or on your coffee table. Use coordinated colors of fabric scraps or just choose one color and pattern for all the coasters. Use your creativity. This would also make a fun gift as well. So another item I like to make with fabric scraps is what are called beeswax wraps. These are eco-friendly alternatives to plastic wrap. You can use them as a bowl cover, as a sandwich wrap, even to wrap up your cheese. I like to use either 8-inch squares or 11-inch squares for these, but you can use whatever size you want. This is gonna make 2 of these beeswax wraps. Grate about a half a cup of beeswax into a container that is heat proof. Then add about 2 tablespoons of jojoba oil. This type of oil is gonna make your wrap nice and pliable. Then add about 3 teaspoons of pine resin. I'll link all the ingredients I use for mine down in the description box below. Pine resin makes these, I find, a little bit extra sticky, but you don't have to include it. Then you're gonna melt all of these ingredients in that heat-safe container on the stove in some simmering water. Once it's melted, place your fabric square on top of some parchment paper. Take a pastry brush and brush that wax mixture all over the square from the center out. Once you've done that, place another piece of parchment paper on top of the fabric wraps, and then take an iron and iron those so that the wax is distributed throughout the wrap and through the wrap. Now you can hang your wraps to dry or just kind of shake them until they're dry. Take some pinking shears and cut around the edge to make the edge look nice and finished. You can store these flat in a drawer, and to wash them, simply use cold water and a tap. I never use these on raw meats, usually just on fruits, veggies, and on the top of my bowls. Another fun thing to create with fabric scraps, and you don't even have to have big ones for this, is what's called fabric twine. And you can use all different colors and patterns of fabric scraps to make this. It kind of looks really boho and fun and unique the more colors and patterns that you use. Tear your fabric into 1-inch strips. So I just cut a little slit in my fabric at the 1-inch width mark and then just start tearing. Once you have a whole bunch of these strips, you can twist them together. You're gonna wanna take 2 strips, twist them individually first, and then twist them together. You can kind of use your pointer finger and your thumb for this. You can do this while you're watching Netflix or a movie. It's super relaxing. If you want to attach another piece, you simply fold it into the previous piece like I'm doing here, and then continue on. You can make your fabric twine as long as you want, and it's so fun for all sorts of different projects. You can make coasters with these, you can make baskets with these. What I'm doing is simply making a dollar store plant pot look cuter and more unique by gluing some around the plant pot from the bottom to the top, just using some hot glue. Once I'm finished, I'm just securing the edge with some more glue, and now I have this really cute and unique plant pot to display some spring decor. In case you don't know already, I'm a huge wallpaper fan. I love using different wallpapers, especially peel and stick, to add some fun, some personality, some pattern to my room makeovers. And I just cannot part with the wallpaper scraps after I do these room makeovers. But there are so many things you can do with wallpaper scraps. One of my favorite and one of the most easy things you can do is drawer liners. And I love putting liners in drawers because it makes the furniture and cabinets that I have last longer, prevents scratching, staining, etc. And it's a really fun pop of color and pattern when you open up that drawer. Simply measure the base of your drawer, cut your wallpaper to size, and then place it in the bottom of the drawer. I especially like using peel and stick wallpaper varieties for this DIY because you can peel off the backing, apply that to the drawer. The liner isn't gonna move, and you can easily remove it if you want to replace it later. Such a fun, easy DIY, and such a great way to use your wallpaper scraps, especially that peel and stick wallpaper. You can also use small wallpaper scraps to make your coffee table books look cute and match your decor. If you have books that you love that you want to place on your coffee table or your side table, but you don't love the colors of the cover, you can cut wallpaper to size. So use your book as a guide, place it on the wrong side of the wallpaper, trace along the edge of the book and kind of flip that book over, continue tracing, leave about an inch at the edges of the book. You're gonna wanna fold over your wallpaper and then cut out that wallpaper with some scissors. Then fold that piece of wallpaper around your book. I'm using peel and stick for this and not removing the backing because I do wanna be able to easily take this off my book later. And then fold those little inch-long pieces around the cover of the book. I'm using Scotch tape to adhere those to my book. Again, making sure that I'm not ruining the book, because if I want to take these off and swap them out later or put the original book jacket on the book, it's no problem. You can add these wallpaper covers to a few different books in a few different sizes, and then it makes the cutest little stack for your side table. And I love this particular pattern. This is a Rifle Paper Co. pattern that I used in our tiny lake house rental, and I saved all the scraps to do all of the fun things with, like these decorative book covers. You can also make super simple artwork with scraps of wallpaper. Simply take a frame, so I'm just using this one from IKEA, take off the backing, and then use the mat inside the frame as a guide to cut out your wallpaper. I'm placing this mat on the back side of this wallpaper. This wallpaper I used for our powder room like 11 years ago. I still love it. A large scale wallpaper works the best for this. I'm tracing out the shape on the back of the wallpaper and then cutting it out with some sharp scissors. Now I am popping that wallpaper into the frame behind the mat. You can kind of shift that wallpaper around to make sure that the parts you want displayed are in the right spot. So I want this bird to be displayed, putting the back on the frame and then hanging this up. And this is a really fun way to display leftover wallpaper scraps. And I still love this print 11 years later after I installed it. Super cute and perfect for the spring and the summer. A cute idea for extra wallpaper is to jazz up some children's chairs. This set I bought from IKEA years ago when my kids were small, and I painted it with some blush pink colored paint. Once all the paint was dry, I wanted to make the chairs look extra cute. So I had this extra wallpaper left over from a project I did for my friend's daughter's room. I traced the seat and the back of the chair onto the wallpaper, and then I cut the wallpaper out to match those shapes. Then I applied the wallpaper to the chair with just the regular wallpaper paste. I trimmed any of the excess off, and then once everything was dry, I used some Varathane polyurethane sealant, sealed right over top the wallpaper and the whole chair, and look how cute this turned out. We have used this chairs and table set for I think 8 years, and it still looks adorable, easily wipeable with that finish, and I'm gonna give it to my niece, and I think she will also enjoy this for years to come. Now let's talk about some scrap wood projects. I like keeping scraps of wood, especially if it has some character, like these leftover boards from the fence at our tiny lake house that we tore down. I have all sorts of ideas on things that I can use these old fence boards for, but the first one is a really simple idea. So I use some cutoffs from this fence and I'm cleaning them really well with a bleach solution and a hard bristle brush. I was considering using a wire brush for this, but I do want to keep the character of these wood pieces. I don't want to sand them either. So cleaning them really well with this bleach solution took me quite a while and a few times to clean them, and then I'm rinsing them off with some water. Now that they're dry, I am cutting them to size. So I have this piece that is about 8 inches wide, and then I'm cutting 2 that are a couple inches wide. I'm attaching the 2 smaller pieces under the larger pieces just like this with some wood glue. You could also use some finishing nails just to give it a little bit of extra strength. This is all dry. I'm just using some sort of gray colored wood stain to stain those cut edges to make it match the rest of the piece as best I can. And now I have this beautiful countertop riser. So you can use this in your kitchen to style kitchen essentials. You can use it as a decorative item on top of counters for candles, etc., or even in your bathroom for makeup or bath essentials. I love that this has a tie-in to our cabin renovation, and look at how much rustic character this has too. 2x2 scrap pieces of lumber are pretty much my favorite size of lumber to have on hand. One of my favorite projects to do with this is this one. I'm cutting these scrap 2x2s into 11 7.5-inch long pieces, 2 10.5-inch long pieces, and 4 21-inch long pieces. Then I'm staining my pieces with this gray-brown stain and placing 7 of the 7.5-inch long pieces in a row and sandwiching them between the 2 10.25-inch pieces. I'm using a finishing nail gun to nail the pieces together. I'll leave a link in the description box below if you want to check out the written version of this tutorial, so you can save it for later. Next, I'm putting the base on its side and positioning one of the 21-inch wood pieces, one of the corners of the base. I'm nailing the 2 pieces together with a nail gun through the bottom of the base into the end of the tall wood piece. I'm repeating this step for all 4 long pieces. Then I'm putting some wood glue on the ends of the remaining 7.5-inch long wood pieces and placing them between the top ends of the 21-inch pieces. I'm securing them together with a nail gun and then adding some glue to these so that they won't spin. Finally, I'm creating a handle by cutting the end of a wire clothes hanger off with wire cutters, bending it into a handle shape, and wrapping each end around the top sides of the lantern. I'm using some pliers to twist the ends together to secure the handle. Now I have a cute wooden lantern made of scraps that is so fun to place on my porch and decorate for the season. I love the rustic look and how easy this was to make. I hope you enjoyed these scrap material DIY ideas. Let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. I love the challenge of making my home look more expensive than it actually is. I'm gonna leave a video for you to watch next right up here where I share all sorts of hacks on how to elevate your home on a budget.